It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you're watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather. And we're sponsored by Marcus Pizza because, let's face it, we all get hungry from time to time, and what better way than to give away some free pizza? That's what they're in the business of doing. Actually, they're in the business of selling pizza, but if you haven't tried them, we have ways that you can get some really good deals on what they have to offer. Let me show you what we're talking about, though. The weather has been the conversation, it seems like, all winter long. When's it going to warm up, Aldrich? When are we going to get some warmer days? Tomorrow. Did you not know we're going to get warmer tomorrow? In fact, it was pretty warm today. We got in the mid to upper 50s. But if you thought today was warm, wait until tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Well, it's Wednesday. Yes, that's true. And it's the 18th of February. Yes, that's true. But it's going to be in the 60s. Oh, when's the last time Norfolk was in the 60s? You know, it would be really nice if we had a weather guy that would actually do that homework. I did it for us. It's really easy. It's on the screen. We hit 60 about 3.5 weeks ago. 3.5 weeks ago it was 60. About a month ago it was 64. But back on the 9th and 10th of January, we had record highs. This was a tie. This was a beat. We beat the record high on the 10th of 75. I know you're like, we were in the 70s in 2026. I don't remember that. Are you sure about that? I'm sure. It was just so long ago. Because let's face it, many of us like me, I can't even remember what I had for lunch a week ago Tuesday. You probably don't remember. It was 74, 75 back on the early part of January of this year. But then we had this cold stretch, and it didn't seem to want to end. It just kept coming and coming. And if you need more evidence it's going to be warm, look no further than the southwest wind. You mean that's the direction the wind's coming tomorrow? Yes, it's going to be pretty windy tomorrow. Gusty at best, around 35 miles an hour. But it won't necessarily be Dallas heat, 75. It's not going to be San Antonio heat, 83. But at least it'll be in the 60s. I've got some good evidence, because look at Nashville. Look at hot Atlanta. They're in the low 60s. I think we've got a good chance to reach Tallahassee heat tomorrow. Ooh, that'd be nice. 67 in Norfolk. That'd be a winner. Chicken dinner. Some people are like, I like that. But boy, was it foggy this morning. Foggy. You didn't even talk about the fog. I'm talking about it now. Right now, we had a low this morning of 36. And because I'm a note taker, I like to take notes. We had that at 8:09 a.m. But we had some fog, and it made it look a little grim and gloomy this morning. But 36 for Norfolk, at least it was above freezing. It wasn't freezing fog, but it was freezing fog maybe in a husky. They were 27, depending on what their weather condition was hour by hour this morning. But 36, the foggy start, we finished at 57. I'd say it's pretty nice. 57 degrees. We hit that number at 3:59 this afternoon. By the way, this would be a great time to tell you about what we're doing today. Oh, we're giving away, well, maybe not giving away. Yeah, we are. We're giving away free pizza this week. It's a short week. But I got to tell you about the favorite item. My favorite item is the Pozzoli. When they can offer it to me at $5 and offer it to you at $5, it's a winner. Normally it's twice the price or nearly that with sales tax. But WTKR, that's our call letters, and the name David will enable you to get a $5 Pozzoli all this week, right through Saturday, whether it be any one of the four options. Pepperoni, that's one option. Pepperoni and sausage, that's the second option. And then the chicken bacon ranch buffalo chicken. You gotta love it. And if you haven't tried it, I urge you to grab a Pozzoli, because there's 6 locations that are participating in that $5 Pozzoli. Also, free pizzas going out the door on Thursdays. We do that as a regular thing, but you gotta sign up. It really takes just a minute or two of your time, so we have the address to send you the certificate, because we're not gonna send you the pizza by way of a delivery driver, although you could do that. They do that too. But from our standpoint, we're giving away free pizza on Thursday for a year. And what that looks like, it's a certificate. It would come in the mail. You can use it as February, March. Use it like a punch card. But you would be winning, if you win it randomly, a 1-topping large pizza every month for free. You gotta love it. That'll take you through January of 2027. And your name could be up here, and we'll make that announcement come this Thursday. Love that. If you haven't tried the Pozzoli, which is on sale for $5 for our First Warning Live viewers, the Pepperoni Magnifico is another option you might have tried, or maybe never tried. But I encourage you, it's one of the great old-style World Cup type of pepperoni cups there. And if you haven't satisfied your appetite just yet, go to our webpage, WTKR.com/Marcos. Again, there are 6 locations that are participating in this contest. I mentioned those here on this screen just a moment ago. These are the 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk, with the 757 phone numbers. Gotta love that. And of course, the Pozzoli using the promo code WTKR David. If you're on the call, this would be a great time to say hi to you. This is one of those rare opportunities. I've been gone as I throw out my Marco's Pizza there. We're gonna give away 10 individual pizzas too. 10 individual pizzas will go out the door on Thursday as well. So you might not win it for a whole year, but if you get a free large pizza, you can share it with your neighbors. There's no restrictions. You can do that. You won't have any issues, I think that. But I do want to say hi because this is the first time I've been off for, I think since I've been here. I'm 1 week away from my anniversary. Do you know that? I've been here a year, the 24th. Of February, so that's next Tuesday. So I don't know, I have to throw maybe some confetti in there for that. But I haven't taken a whole week off like I did this past week, so it's good to be back. Did you miss me? I missed you, so this is fun for me. But if you have a comment, let me know what you're thinking, because I'm going to do my best to get down the road as far as the forecast. I haven't even gotten to the nitty-gritty of what we're going to expect this weekend and in the days to come, because we still have that to work through. But I'm just checking in with the comments. If there are some, this would be a great time, as I'm going to find that post and add it into the pipeline of my stream. If there's, I got a couple of new ones. It's buffering. I got 6 comments. I got Luke. Luke is here. I want to say hi to Luke. Hi, Luke. Luke says hi. And how this works is if you just leave a comment, just like you normally do on Facebook, I have the ability to proofread it and then put it on the screen. I wouldn't necessarily just let anybody put a comment on the screen. I'd like to proofread it, make sure it's on the up and up, but it's great to see somebody smiling faces back here. Thank you, Luke. I got a hey-o from Taj Brown. Great to see Taj is in the house. And Kim Thompson-Jones also saying hello, everyone. Welcome back, David. Good to see everyone again. So happy that you all are here. Now, some of you know these names, Kim and Taj and Luke, because you watch on a regular basis. Some of you watch it all the time, but not live, right? You might watch it an hour later, a couple of hours later, maybe the following morning, whatever works for you. That's why this stream is doing what it's doing. It's trying to get as many people reached with the information, because I do like to go the extra mile. I like to give you a first warning. I'm going to give you some of that with the cold air down the road. Yes, it'll come back. You said the cold air would come back. It will. But maybe not in all areas of our viewing area. But the 57 was nice, but record high 80 set back during the Carter administration, 1976. Now, today was not the warmest day of the month, but tomorrow will be, because we haven't hit 60 in February, at least in Norfolk. We've had 5 above normal days here, but 12 below. It was so cold from about the first, 8-9 days. I mean, it was so cold. We're still running about 8 degrees below normal for the month. And at this point, I guess it was day 9, we were running about 12 and a half. We were negative 12.6 when I left last week. Now, last I checked, it's like negative 8.4. Given the heat we had today, we're probably about negative 8. Which is just to say, if you're more than 1 or 2 degrees below normal for the month, that's where we take all the highs, all the lows, and divide by, in this case, 28 days, because that's how many days are in February, on a non-leap year day, or non-leap year month of February. But it is interesting to note, glad to see Cynthia here, got some nice little comments coming in. Let me put her on the screen. Thank you, Cynthia. She says, thank you for being kind to the public. No, thank you, because one of the things we have to do, I'm convinced, I've said this since I got here, we got to learn our neighbors' names. Why? Because someday, maybe it's this year, maybe it was last year, we're going to have a storm. We're going to have homes like we've seen tragically happen in Buxton. I think up to 30 homes have gone by way of the tides since last September, or maybe since 2022. Our neighborhood reporter, Will Thomas, has been covering that extensively. But when you have so many communities right on the water, it's so important we just check on each other, especially when it gets really cold, when it gets really hot in the summer and humid. People don't always have great working air conditioning, right? You got to have a way to check with your neighbors and make sure they're okay. Whether they're very old, very young, or anywhere in between, that's my view. That's what I maintain. And I hope that I have some agreement with you, because you are in your neighborhood better than I can be. I'm just here on a stream. But I wanted to show you this graphically because I do know it'll get cold eventually again. Before I animate this, I wanted to show you today's sudden stratospheric warming event. This is the 17th, that's today, okay? And when you see warm air rises, cold air sinks, so this is all going to be indicative of about 30 days from now. we're going to see a big surge of cold air. I think it's going to pass us to the north. And why would I say that? Because when I look at this closely in the contouring, following this orange contour, it's likely to go in this direction. It'll go do-si-do around New England. So they're going to get some really cold air. We're going to continue on this theme. I'll show you that there are severe weather outlooks going into Thursday this week. I said severe weather season is likely to start early. We had some tornadoes in the Gulf last week, I am told, although I was off, but there's going to be more severe weather, I think, going into early March. And this is representative of the 17th. So think about these maps are not forecasts. They're simply an analysis of what's actually been observed about 10 or 11 miles up. 70 millibars, or pascals if you prefer. 70 millibars is easier. Remember, the temperature analysis at about 10 or 11 miles up shows a dramatic warming at that layer, and that's going to push cold air down. So we're going to not be done with the cold air in New England, but it might be more ebb and flow. Meaning it's not going to be consistent here. So when I go back to this map, keeping this picture in your mind's eye, what's it going to look like as we move through the next 10 days? You can see in purple, it's just push. The Arctic air is still trying to get into North Dakota, into Montana. Even though we are celebrating a warmer day tomorrow, I just wanted to put it out there on your radar that we're not done with the inconsistency. It's going to still go back and forth. Just when you think it's warm, it's going to go push. Here goes some more, animated further. Follow the date, 22nd, 23rd. And you can just see it's like a bounce. It's a rubber band, right? This cold air goes down James Bay into New England, and it pulsates. And so we will get some warm days, but when you're over here, right, we're not in this cold channel. This is the cold highway. It's going to be to our north. So I think we're going to see opportunities for severe weather in the Ohio Valley, in the Tennessee Valley, in the Deep South. That's going to continue on because you're going to need a clash of the really cold air, the really warm, humid air from the Gulf. Satellite radar tonight shows more clouds. That's the expectation. Partly to mostly cloudy, more clouds. Lows will be in the mid-40s tonight, but they will rise before you wake up tomorrow. We got an area of high pressure that's loosely situated off the Outer Banks, and when warm air, really toasty air. The warm air is actually pushing some of those 70s and 80s out of Texas and trying to get into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So the warm air that you see near Memphis will try to push into Knoxville tomorrow, Louisville, Tuscaloosa, Atlanta, and we will have a breezy day tomorrow. If you need more evidence, here it is. This takes you through about 7 a.m. And what do you notice? Something I notice is that we've got gusts. Oops, didn't mean to do that. We have gusts by 7 a.m. around 24. But by noon and 1, it goes from 31, there we go, 1 o'clock, 34, 33. So you're probably in that 35, some of the data I see of up to 40 miles an hour. Not enough to trigger a wind advisory from the National Weather Service. Again, the National Weather Service works with everything on criteria. They have a set benchmark, a guideline, or a criteria. If it's not met, they're not going to issue it. Doesn't mean it's not windy. So even though we're not under a wind advisory, we're going to have a gusty day tomorrow, and that will warmly transport some of the warm air back into the 60s. Some of us, inland Virginia, inland North Carolina, could be 70 plus. I'm talking Gatesville, Cortland, Emporia, just to name a few. And we'll look at that here momentarily. But the wind speeds are still gusting on 24 south side at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now the temperatures may bottom out between 1 or 3 in the morning. This represents 4 in the morning, and it's pretty close to 45. I'm expecting 46 or 45 to be the low. I think we've even come close to that in the last couple of hours. So if you get a little bit of a sea breeze, you could drop the temperature a bit. But notice it starts to climb even before the sun is up. The sun comes up tomorrow at 6:50. This represents 6 a.m. and we've already gone from 46 to 50. So we're going to see these numbers climb. This model would say, hey, we're at 66. So if you're driving your vehicle tomorrow and you're like, man, I didn't know it's like 60, suddenly your car thermometer is going to be probably way higher than what the airport's reporting in the shade. Because you're on the pavement, your thermometer is probably near your engine, so you're going to have some higher totals. But you'll spend most of the afternoon, surprisingly, in the mid to upper 60s. That's on the table for tomorrow. We haven't done that in February. Not yet, but we'll do that tomorrow. So that's why I say, yes, it's going to be nice and warm, but to think that you're going to have some consistency with your wardrobe or your kid's wardrobe, think again. We saw that cold Arctic air bounce up and down like a rubber band. It's going to come back right into the end of February, early March, and we will have some ebb and flow even as we head. Doesn't mean it's snow. It doesn't mean it's snow. It just means we'll have some cold episodes, and it might be some weeks colder than others. But I think the worst of winter is over for Hampton Roads in terms of snowfall. We've had that drama before I left last week for a vacation. Now, the temperature forecast there shows we've got some 60s on the board. 11 o'clock tonight, we've got more clouds. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, yeah, there's some thin spots. Right, I don't want to say it's completely overcast, but there's some thin spots. Winds are out of the southwest. That's the warm weather direction. And you can see 7 a.m. we're mostly cloudy. What about noontime? Still mostly cloudy. Best spot looks like it's thin would be the Albemarle, right? Or the Outer Banks. Maybe Manio or Roanoke Island. Might have more sunshine at noontime tomorrow, based if this model graph were to verify. Now, by the time we hit, say, 4 and 6 p.m., you're going to see some raindrops dropping in down from Gloucester, Middlesex, Matthews, Eastern Shore. Be prepared. By the time it gets dark, the rain's going to be on the increase from the north. And you can see that illustrated very clearly here. This is representative of 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's not always going to line up perfectly. It's not always going to line up exactly at that time, but it's pretty close. It's got some pretty good score for that to happen in Williamsburg, Middlesex, Saluda, and maybe into Onancock by 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Once it comes down Exmoor, Williamsburg, it's going to slide down into Norfolk. It's going to slide into Cape Charles, eventually Virginia Beach, and so it goes. Now, during the day, I have a 20% chance of rain. I think it's going to be way, way higher, probably closer to 60% by the time we hit tomorrow night. So that's representative of 9 o'clock. There's Elizabeth City at 11 o'clock and Duck about thereafter. Now, 6 a.m. Thursday, I've got scattered showers. It's like there's a parade, and it's not the happy kind of parade. It's a rainy parade. Yeah, rainy. You know what I mean by it. Okay, so there's 5 o'clock. It's rainy in Virginia Beach, but maybe not so much in Franklin. It might just be drizzling there, and that's your Thursday in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and look at the planner for the weekend, because let's face it, we live for the weekend. I know I do. I know you do. So let's say, look, I have a 40% chance of rain on Saturday. But most of us, within the sound of my voice, if you don't live in North Carolina, most of you will be dry. Let me say that again. Most of us on Saturday should be dry unless you live in the Tar Heel State. Most of the rain that we're going to be getting, hello there again, Cynthia, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I wanted to clear off the telestory. Most of the rain on Saturday will be centered around Cape Fear, Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, southeast North Carolina, and eastern North Carolina. So again, it won't even cover all of the Outer Banks, but the focal point will be south. And then on Sunday, everybody's getting in on the act, right? But it's mainly in the morning. So if you were to ask me, is it going to rain this weekend? Oh, bah humbug. Don't write it off. Just time it out. It's all about location on Saturday. And I think it's a timely issue that most of Sunday afternoon will be dry. Yes, it's going to be filled with clouds. The byproduct is we've got more clouds in the forecast for the next 4 or 5 days. That's one thing we'll have to work through. But as far as the rain this weekend, I think the cooler day is clearly on Sunday at 49 degrees, and we got mainly rain Saturday further south of 757. The 757, for the most part, should be dry on Saturday. Got some other comments from you, Taj Brown. Let's see, somebody's talking about birds. I don't know how we got on that topic, but they're both beautiful birds. Glad to have Kim Thompson and Taj having some great conversation, and maybe it's related to this one. This is from Marilyn. She says, quote, I've been seeing lots of redbirds and bluebirds here in East Tennessee. They are ready for spring like me. Well, maybe so. Maybe that is not the canary in the coal mine, but the redbirds and bluebirds in the coal mine that maybe have things to come. Let's be hopeful. Let's hope it warms up not only for you, Maryland, but here in Hampton Roads. I got Luke, he says, hello. Luke has a follow-up to his hi. He says, we like the 60s at Knott's Island. I bet you do. I like the Knott's Island market. I've been there a couple of times. Very friendly people there. By the way, Cynthia saying thank you for the public. We already read that. Paul Underwood here says, tell us what is the high next Monday. Monday is the 23rd. I have us at 44 degrees with some drops and flakes. Not a snowstorm. 20% chance of drops and flakes, meaning it's cold enough for a flurry, but some might just get drizzle. Low temperatures on Monday should be around 33, high temperature 44, partly cloudy. I hope that answers Paul's question because he wants to cut to the chase. I like that. I like that about Paul. He likes to get right to the nuts and bolts. And I'm going to keep going because we got to cover this. It's now 8 o'clock, just about. Rain returns to end the week. Please note the time here. If you're new to our platform, you're welcome. Everybody's welcome here. I just wanted to highlight the timestamp is up in the upper right. This would represent a Friday that's rainy, at least scattered showers, but late afternoon, I'd say about 4:35, 5:36, a lot of that's going to be out of here. And then we're going to start Saturday. Notice how much of the 757 on Saturday morning appears to be dry, maybe some drizzle there, but most of it's down toward Wrightsville Beach, Cape Fear. We talk about maybe down toward Myrtle Beach. That's where the focal point of the more moderate rain will be, and it will graze with a 40% chance of the Outer Banks. Rodanthe has a better chance of rain, and Hatteras than maybe Duck or Currituck, right? I think most of it's going to be further south. Now, that's 5:30 in the morning. Look what happens at, say, 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. It's still raining in here, and that's why most of the 757 on Saturday afternoon, dry. Mainly North Carolina. So you understand the method of my madness. I just want you to know it's not going to be a complete washout this weekend. Your activities may be in the 750. Well, I canceled them on Saturday because I heard it was going to rain. That's not going to be very helpful. That's why I do this stream. So I can give you the specifics and the data that I have in front of me, which would suggest most of the rain on Saturday is in southeastern North Carolina and eastern North Carolina. It's not a 757 rain on Saturday. Now, when we get into Sunday, we got another blob coming in, and that will affect the eastern shore of the peninsula. Everybody, that's 9:30 in the morning, right? So we're looking at this. This is 9:30 in the morning Sunday. You said it was going to be mainly in the morning. Yes, everybody. And then, wait for it, by 1 o'clock it's pulling away. Most of this will be out of here, I think, even before 1, based on other guidance, other modeling I've been looking at. So most of this will be gone, I think, probably well before 2 p.m. Most of it will be gone. So that means you have the second half of your Sunday to get out and do whatever you want to do without having to carry an umbrella. All right, it's 8:02. I've gone on and on about that. I wanted to get that out of the way. 52 is our current temperature in Hampton. 49, Portsmouth and Virginia Beach. We have 41, Elizabeth City, the Harbor of Hospitality, Nags Head 43, Ahoskie at 41, and it's 50 in Surrey. If you look at our cameras look, I don't see any snow in Moyock not anymore. That was like last 2 weeks ago. That's an old story, Aldrich. Stay on the current. It's just dry pavement. Yeah, we had some rain maybe Sunday, but it wasn't much. 0.27 I think is what we had yesterday. Maybe it was Monday. Yeah, that would have been early Monday. But you had some rain over the last couple of days. Now, the question that I wanted to pose to you comes from our meteorologist, Tony Nargi. He did some homework. And I did some follow-up to his homework because he piqued my curiosity. My question to you is simple. Where did the first F5 rated tornado in the United States occur? Keep in mind, we changed it to the EF scale in 2007. It was announced, I remember, at a conference I attended in 2006. But the question is it A, Oklahoma, B, Kansas, or C, Texas? This is an A, B, or C. I like to do these trivia questions on the stream simply to see who all is watching live. I got a note from Cornell. Cornell says, hello from the Norfolk, Virginia 757. Great to see you, Cornell. I'm glad to have you watching. If you're a weather nerd like me, Cornell, you may have a guess. And even if you don't, there's no harm in guessing. Is it A, Oklahoma, B, Kansas, or C, Texas? Now, I will tell you a little homework I've done. 59 F5 tornadoes or EF5. Those tornadoes, there's only been 59 in the United States since they've been keeping records on this in 1950. You got to give a lot of props, a lot of respect to Dr. Ted Fujita, who is from Japan, but he taught at the University of Chicago because he would take his notebook and he would go out after every time there was a tornado outbreak, he'd take notes. He was not there storm chasing. He was doing the follow-up, right? He would go and say, well, that looks like that kind of damage. This is more consistent with this kind of damage. And so he would assign a wind speed to a possible tornado. And that's really where his research came with the Fujita scale. So the F5 refers to the first F5. Any guesses? Let me know if you have. I'll give you another 20 seconds. Oklahoma is A, Kansas is B, Texas is C. I want to know if anyone watched the noon show today, because I do see Cornell's taking a guess. I think it's a good guess. There was the F5 or EF5 more Oklahoma tornado, but the answer actually is not A, which is what I guessed, Cornell. It's actually C, 1953, Waco, Texas, May 11th, 1953. So there haven't been a whole lot of them. Only 59 in the United States records going back to 1950. And I believe, from what I've read, there was a total of 67. So really, there's 2 in France, 2 in Germany, 1 in Argentina, 1 in Australia, 1 in Canada, and 1 in Italy. So there aren't too many EF, or in this case, back because it's so old, F5 tornadoes. That's pretty strong, and you're looking at winds that are going to generally be top tier, right? That's the strongest winds that are usually going to be well over 200 miles an hour in most cases. But yeah, it was in 2007 they changed it and decided to call it the enhanced, because the assessment was that Ted Fujita was overestimating the higher end of the scale. So they kind of brought it back down to maybe more of an accepted norm of how strong winds can be. And again, a lot of it is done not in real time, but in after the fact type of damage. All right, I'm going to keep moving because I didn't get to the headlines. Might as well do that here at 8:05. It's going to be warmer tomorrow. We've covered that. The biggest difference is it's going to be windy and cloudy with spotty rain. Most of the rain that we get tomorrow will come at night. You can expect scattered showers, a little parade of showers on Thursday and Friday. But the good news is it's not a washout. In fact, you're going to be hard-pressed to find any rain in the 757 on Saturday in the 757. But you will find it in the Tar Heel State because of the track of this next system. This system will go across Myrtle Beach, across Wrightsville Beach, and move out to sea, which will drag some rain into parts of the Outer Banks on Saturday itself. So the planner tomorrow, really pretty simple. It's warm. Dress for the 60s. The winds are going to steal the show. It will be cloudy, or at least mostly cloudy. It's going to be windy, gusts around 35, could get an outside 40, and then showers will increase a bit by the time it gets dark. So between 4, 5, 6, and 7, I think the rain chances will only increase. So I left a 20% chance by day. It's more like a 60% chance at night, and the sun sets tomorrow at 5:48. Now, if you need some evidence of how much rain we're looking at Thursday and Friday, that parade of rain would suggest about a half inch. It's nothing we can't handle. Certainly it's beneficial. We could use this rain, and I wanted to show you this because this is one particular model we call the Euro. When you look at the more macro view of the same exact model, notice it had 0.6 for the Eastern Shore. This one says, no, it's 1.3 for Cape Charles. So you're going to find locally higher amounts. That's what I take away when I see the data. That doesn't always match. It's the same model, but it's suggesting you're probably going to get some locally heavy rain. 0.6, about a third of an inch for Emporia. Beneficial rain because if you look at the latest drought monitor, which we'll look at, we're under a level 2 moderate drought for much of North Carolina and eastern sections of Virginia. Now the temperature trend, 67 sounds great if it were sunny like today, but it's not. Normal high is 54. We get a little bit of a pullback here, a pullback on Saturday, and even more so on Sunday. But at least Friday should also be around 66 degrees. So not all that bad in terms of the temperature. But what is really missing here, and I really wanted to drive this home, is that Saturday is mainly North Carolina, and Sunday's rain, while it's 80%, don't cancel your plans. If you've got Sunday afternoon plans, you'll say, hey, it stopped. Hey, let's get outside and do some fun things with the dog, play with the kids outside, whatever. You'll have that opportunity, I think, all day Saturday in the 757 and mainly in the afternoon on Sunday. But after you go through 2 consecutive days, Thursday and Friday, of scattered showers, you might just assume it's 4 days of gloom. I'd say it's maybe 2.5, right? 2.5 days of gloom because you've got all that. We talked about this cold air bottled up across James Bay, across parts of Canada. It's going to try and ooze down across New England, but we will watch this upper air pattern. It will come and go, meaning you get real nice and warm for a day, and then it goes do-do-do, and it goes back down, and then it comes back up. There's no consistency in the next 10 to 15 days, I can assure you. The Norfolk, I didn't mean to put that back on. We'll go back over here. The Norfolk rainfall amounts in February, this is typically the driest month of the year. And if you recall, because today's the 17th, That means this Thursday is the 1-year anniversary of the big snowstorm you had last year. Remember that big 10.2 in Norfolk? Some had more than 11, some had 12. But whatever you had, if you're in the Norfolk area, you got 10 inches of snow. That was a year ago this Thursday, because today is the 17th. We're just 2 days away from that benchmark. Maybe you remember it well. Some of you might have just come into town. I didn't get here till 2 days after. So I did see the mounds of snow shoveled in the driveways and the parking lots, but 2.9 is not very much water relative to the rest of the year. And so where we can get this rain, we'll take it. We're running about almost 6.5 inches below normal for 2025 and about 2 inches below normal so far for our calendar year this year. So we're about, 6 weeks, a little more than 6 weeks into 2026. Now, if you look at these legends here, the light brown is moderate. That covers most of the 757, the eastern shore, most of the peninsulas. It's areas west of Ahoskie. Then it comes down right as severe drought. Or Northampton. We're looking at some areas in Jackson, North Carolina, that could really use some water. So the rain that we've got in the forecast, if you're going to spin it, it's pretty beneficial. By the way, if I didn't mention to you, I'll go back and take a look at the News 3 First Warning Weather app. If you haven't downloaded it, it's free. I encourage you to download it. It also works very well with the NOAA Weather Radio, which is battery powered, so that if your battery ever dies in or around your phone, you'll have other ways of getting notifications. So that's one of the benefits of having multiple sources. Now, if you're in the military and you're just kind of homesick, as we're going to round up things here in a few minutes, 8/11, we've got heavy rain that's still falling across California. If I slide out west, I believe it's actually changing over to mountain snows. I've heard even some reports that they could get multiple feet in the mountains, anywhere from 4 feet, 6 feet. I even heard as crazy as like 8 feet of snow in the mountains of California. I guess if you go high enough, you'll find it all there. A smorgasbord of winter weather is still living on near Reno and into the California mountains at this time. Fresno's getting a lot of rain. You got some scattered snow showers around Denver at the moment. And I do want to mention, I do believe we have some severe weather potential even tonight, isolated as it may be, in the Midwest, maybe not far from Chicago, Minneapolis, and so on. But I wanted to show you the European model for the next 10 days. If you're looking for a snowstorm, they might get more in Minneapolis, more in Denver. This takes us for the next couple of days, and we're going to get some rain. I talked about that. We got a parade of rain, but if you're looking for a snowstorm, you might be hard-pressed. Maybe by the time we get to the 22nd of February, that would be more like Sunday, I have some drops and flakes. I think that's how I described it. Yeah, drops and flakes. There might be a few drops or flakes in here, but it's not going to amount to anything. It's a little clipper system, and then it's gone. And then the next impulse would suggest more rain coming in, but it's cold enough to snow up here. That's where the really cold air is going to be surging into Portland, Maine, and into maybe Nova Scotia over time. So that just takes you through the next 10 days. Already talked about temperatures in Norfolk. We're right now 58 in Knoxville. Big shout out to my East Tennessee neighbors back there, 51 in Myrtle Beach. Pittsburgh, hello to you. If you've got family in the Pittsburgh Steeler territory of 49, it's 35. Much colder in New York City right now, while Richmond is at 50. The warm air right now is still in the mid-70s for South Texas. They're in the 40s in Denver, 40s in Rapid City, South Dakota, and 35 in Bangor, Maine. But the really cold air doesn't appear to be that cold relative to Canada. -6 is cold, but maybe not as cold as it could be, all things considered. Looking at some comments from you. See here, Graceful. I believe she was guessing. Graceful Gems was guessing A. The answer was B, or C rather, Texas. But I have to be fair. I guessed, I was watching at noon, I was watching Blaine Stewart, I was watching Tony Nargi, and he had me guessing. I was thinking it's probably Oklahoma. They're all three states that typically had F5s or EF5s. But going back to 1953, that was a good little nugget. 70 in Houston, 51 right now in Myrtle Beach. Now, where are we going to be? Well, it's good to see the dew points have come up from last time I was doing this. We had single digits or sub-zero dew points. It's not as dry. It's not like Chapstick City in the heart of winter, but there will be, as I said, a little bit of ebb and flow. The blue areas would represent the paved highway of cold air. It's going to dip down to Tennessee. It'll get back to South Carolina and Georgia, even into the 757, where we feel like, oh man, I thought we were done with this. The answer is no, we're not done with this, because we're simply going to be seeing it ebb and flow. The above normal temperatures will persist in the Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico area, while even Florida, dare I say, should be below normal here. This is not, relative to Florida. It's not like it's Minnesota, but Miami is going to feel a little bit of a chill going through the 27th of February. That's just sometimes how it works. We take a look at the Eastern Shore. This is where I'm going to wrap things up. It's 8:14. 58 tomorrow for Bloxham and Onancock. 54 for Cape Charles, our friends in Exmoor. The Exmoor Diner, about 57. 62 tomorrow for Kill Devil Hills. Low 60s for Manio. Notice a lot of clouds here. 60 for Nags Head and Rodanthe, about 60. 59 Ocracoke and 64 Hatteras. Now, as far as the severe weather, haven't really had to show these colors recently because we've been in kind of a sleepy mode for thunderstorms that reach severe limits. But where you see some green, that would be the severe threat between now and 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That would include Los Angeles and Southern California, where they could get an isolated severe storm. Now, they did have Sioux City, Omaha, and Des Moines under that green area when I paused it here earlier about an hour or so ago, but they've removed it, so that's no longer there, and so they're in the clear as far as the Midwest is concerned. But even still, Wednesday looks quiet, but then all of a sudden, coincidentally, there comes Thursday. Thursday, you mean there's going to be severe weather on Thursday? Well, the outlook would suggest yes. And yes, because we're probably going to have the best chance in yellow. That would be scattered severe storms in Indianapolis, Evansville, Louisville. If you're in the military and you got family in Bloomington or Muncie in Indiana, maybe Dayton, Ohio, there's a chance you could get some severe storms. Springfield, Ohio, I'm thinking of The Simpsons. But anyway, you still got opportunity for isolated severe storms just south of Chicago and into northern sections of Tennessee, just north of maybe Memphis, northeast of Memphis. Severe weather threat Thursday, clearly not an issue here. So we've already looked at the futurecast. I'll go through at least tonight. Again, more clouds in place in case you're just joining us. I don't see rain as an issue tomorrow until after dark. Most of that comes down from the north. You can see it moving into places like Williamsburg at 6, Onancock at 6, about 7 or 8 for Exmoor, Cape Charles, northern section, well, Newport News for sure by 8 o'clock. So when I'm streaming tomorrow night, we'll have something to look at on the radar, I suspect, and it'll spread into Franklin, Elizabeth City, Duck, and so on, and so it goes. So that'll just be the start of the parade, the rainy parade that will persist right through Thursday and into Friday. We've already covered this part of it, where it will come and go. So we got one wave going in on Saturday, mainly south, and then on the one on Saturday, into Sunday rather, Sunday brings in more rain across the board that will be lingering, I think, right through the morning hours especially. So here's your morning forecast. We'll probably still get only to 40, 45 to about 1 or 3 in the morning. Even by 4, it should start to rise. 45 for Franklin, 46 Edenton, about 40 for Duck, 44 Chesapeake, and our friends in Newport News at 45 degrees for a low tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, we're in the 50s and 60s. I know it's weird. That's a big range, but that's why you come here, right? How on earth can it be 54 in Cape Charles? Probably. And 71 in Edenton. Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? I mean, that's a big range. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes that's just the way the thermometer reads. 68 in Elizabeth City tomorrow, 58 for Duck. And if you're in Smithfield, about 68, 64 Matthews, about 70 for Hertford come tomorrow. Here's your first warning. WTKR News 370 forecast. Paul wanted to know about Monday. I'll jump to Monday. Got drops and flakes for you. But you've got some nice mild air. I mean, if the fact that it wasn't so cloudy, which it will be, if it weren't so windy tomorrow, which it will be, it would be a great time. But even still, if you're sensitive to the cold, at least every time frame is either at or above freezing, with the exception of maybe Monday night, right? Got a 31. But even still, 33, it's just an overnight low. So you've got some time before we get back to some cooler air. But I wanted to point this out to you so that once we get into next week and you start to sense the air is colder, it won't surprise you, right? Because my job, one of my jobs, besides encouraging you to understand every day is a gift, is to know that this stuff changes, right? And so the guidance would suggest there's going to be another impulse. We're going to get some more cold air from the north. And when it comes, it will modify our temperatures to maybe a little bit less lofty than the way it's going to end this week. There's no question we've had a cold February. I mentioned about 8 degrees below normal so far. But even though we get a little bit of warmth here, we're probably going to moderate again for the second half, or at least the first half of next week. If you've got a message or a comment, now's the time. I just want to check in with the happy shots. This comes by way of Jack Carpenter. We have a Facebook group called WTKR Photographers. These are wild peacocks, I understand. Wild peacocks and one peahen. I'll let you guess which one is the peahen. Probably the one that looks different. The peahen and the wild peacocks on the Eastern Shore. Who knew? And then we had the exhaust plume from Crew 12. I guess from Friday morning sunrise. This was a drone picture from William. Thank you for sharing your exhaust plume from Cape Canaveral, I presume, is that exhaust plume. And then you got the gloomy Sunday Newport News pictures, clouds from Charles capturing some of that as well. So again, thank you, Charles. Thank you, William. And thank you so much for your photos. Again, more clouds coming into the picture tonight. But if you're just joining us, there's the 7-day forecast. Hey, you got 67. Some will flirt with 70 tomorrow. You got to love that. Better chance of rain coming in after dark tomorrow. All right, just checking in with you. Want to say hi. Thank you so much. You know, I have been gone. I did my last stream was last Monday. That was a week ago yesterday. So it has been a while, and I am really glad to be back. I missed you all. Can I confess? I missed doing the live stream. Now that I'm back, we finally get something to talk about. We got some warm air. Are you happy that it's going to be warm? And are you going to do anything different? Because your dog, when it rains, well, like my dog, gets kind of mopey. I'm like, Dewey. Dew Point's her name, but we call her Dewey. And I'm like, Dewey, it's like she just wants to lay down, put her head on the pillow when it's raining. So maybe if you can get out before the rain arrives tomorrow night, your dog or my dog will have a better go of it for sure. Just checking in with you all. I got a note. I think Miss McCreary has said it best. She said, we're ready for spring. So Latrice, thank you so much for that. I think we're all ready for spring. David Marshall, I believe he won some pizza last go around. He got a pizza. He was one of the winners. He says he's ready for spring as well. And I will second and third that motion. Bring it on. By the way, if you're hungry, and I'm really hungry right now, maybe you are too. If you want to save some money, it's up to you. Share with your neighbors. There's no harm in it. Marcos says, okay, screenshot it. You can save it. It's good at any of his participating stores. But the favorite item that I love is their $5 Pozzoli. It's usually twice the price with sales tax, but my favorite is pepperoni and sausage. You could do a chicken bacon ranch, you could do buffalo chicken, they're all good, but make sure you get a good dipping sauce. They will provide you either garlic or ranch or marinara, like a pizza cup, but it's so much better with a sauce that you like that you can pair it with. If you use the promo code at marcos.com, WTKR David, that's our TV call letters, it will work. It'll take the price down to $5 immediately once you're on marcos.com. Now, for our webpage, because we want to give you free pizza for a year and also some individual pizzas, I urge you to go and spend just a minute's time. You don't have to do it more than once. If you've done it once, you don't have to do it twice. But go to WTKR.com/Marcos, sign up, and we will give you, I'll put you into a random drawing where you'll get a chance to win some free pizza for a year. That certificate looks like this. We've been giving away hundreds of pizzas since last May when we started this experiment, and we're very happy that Marcos loves the response. Again, they like, I think they really want people to try their products. So if you're glued to a different pizza brand, a nationwide brand, try Marcos. I think you will be most impressed, as I was, because the Pozzoli was the first thing I tried, and I got addicted to the Pozzolis. They're really good for lunch, but they're good anytime. And then, of course, you can make sure if you satisfy your appetite, go to WTKR.com/Marcos. Doesn't that pizza look good? Just a slice right now. I'd be happy. Anyway, just want to make sure you know I will be back tomorrow. I will be back on Thursday. We'll look at the radar because I'm calling for rain, and we'll have some things to look at on the radar. And if you have other questions, that's what I'm here for. We'll talk about the drought monitor more on Thursday because we'll get a new update from NOAA. So there's some things we'll talk about this week besides just some really delicious pizza. Anyway, happy that you're here. Remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny, like it was today for part after the fog moved. It doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. Every day is a gift. We can't change tomorrow. Well, we can change tomorrow. You can't change yesterday. I figured that, right? You can't change yesterday, but you can change tomorrow because tomorrow hasn't been lived yet. But that'll happen tomorrow. Anyway, we'll see you here tomorrow night. Take care.